Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Southland Community Church. We have online giving. Visit southlandcommunitychurch.com to give your tithes and offerings. Or you can mail it to P.O. Box 2866, Hammond, Louisiana 70404. And now, please enjoy the message by Pastor Steve Farmer. This title of the series is 1 Month to Live. In the last 4 weeks, my dad has been kind of discussing a few things, right? And the whole idea, the whole premise of this series is if you had 30 days to live, how would you like to live that life? What would you do differently if you were only given 30 days left to live? And so Dad talked about a few things. These past 4 weeks, he talked about the dash, right? Talked about how in life, when you die and you're at the cemetery, there are 2 dates on that tombstone, right? It has your birth date and it has your death date. And in between, there is a dash there. And that dash represents the life that you live. We always focus on the birth date and we focus on the death date, but it's that dash, and it's short. It's a short-lived thing. Some people live to be 100 years old. Some people live to be 26 years old, and it's short-lived on both sides, because when you're 100, I always hear people that say, it seems like yesterday I was 6 years old, and so it's so fast. And Dad talked about that Jesus lived in these certain ways. He lived passionately. Everybody say passionately. He loved completely. Everybody say loved completely. And he learned humbly. Everybody say learned humbly. Now I'm going to say it again. Say loved humbly. I need some feedback. There it is, all right? And see, the last thing, what I want to do today, I get the pleasure, the honor of wrapping up this series. I like to think of it as a present, and it's got the nice little bow on top, the thing that I'm not really good at doing and wrapping and all that. I get to put the bow, it's the cherry on top, and I get to wrap this entire series up. And the way that I look at it is that Jesus lived passionately, he loved completely, he learned humbly, but most importantly, he left boldly. Everybody say left boldly. Another way of saying that is he left a legacy. You see, when I think of leaving a legacy, I think of the clip that I just showed, and that was from Saving Private Ryan. How many of you have ever seen that movie? Okay, cool. Listen, I don't feel any way, shape, or form bad that I showed you the literal last scene of the movie. If I spoiled it for you, I really don't feel bad, because the movie is so old now. I mean, it came out in 1998. I was born in 94, okay? The movie's been out a long time. So if you haven't seen it, you've been under a rock. It's one of my favorite movies. Steven Spielberg is one of his best. Tom Hanks is one of my favorite actors. And watching that scene, it hits me every time, because it's moments right before that Captain John Miller is leaning against this like bike or whatever, and he's got this pistol, right? And he's shooting at the tank, and he knows he's dead. Like, he knows he's not making it, and he's defiantly shooting at this tank, and all of a sudden, the bombers come in and take out the tank, and he's laying there, and he's amazed, right? And then all of a sudden, Private Ryan walks up, and he sees him, and the whole idea of this movie is that Captain John Miller and his squad have been sent to save Private Ryan. And the whole premise, the whole reason is because Private Ryan, when he went to war, him and his brothers were all fighting, and all of his brothers died immediately. I mean, they all died, and it's only him left of his family. And so the general gets word of this, and he thinks back on a speech, like on a letter that Abraham Lincoln had wrote to a mother back in the day, right, about her family and her kids. And so he thought about it, and he said, we got to get Private Ryan home. I can't have this message and send this woman home knowing that all of her sons died at war. If there's a way that we can get Private Ryan home, let's do it. And so he sends Captain John Miller and his squad to save Private Ryan. That's the whole movie. And to the common person, it seems kind of weird. Like, why would they risk the lives of so many people for just one person, right? They're literally going to sacrifice a whole squad to go find one guy. When he signed up, literally to die. It's like his job, right? It's to fight for the country, and if he dies, well, he died for his country. That's the whole point, right? So why send a whole squad to save one? But it makes you think of the Bible. It makes you think of what the Good Shepherd does, right? He leaves the 99 to save the one. It makes no sense to the common person. You got 99 sheep, why go after one? They just have a bunch of other sheep, and they'll have more kids, and we'll be over 100, right? Why go after the one? Because in Jesus' eyes, each and every one of us matter. We all are valuable in his eyes. We all are worth it, right? And so when you see this scene and John Miller is dying, Private Ryan is now standing there. He didn't want to go home. He didn't want to be a coward. When they said, hey, we've risked our lives to save you, he said, no, I'm staying right here and defending this bridge until I die. And they're like, no, bro, we told you we're bringing you home. And Captain John Miller is literally dying, and he pulls Private Ryan down, and he says, earn this. And that scene hits me every time, because right there, he's dying. It's his last words to him. He pulls him closer, and he pulls him back, and he says, earn it, and dies. It's the last words. And Private Ryan stands there, and he's overlooking him, and then it fades to his life being an elderly man. And you see behind him, and it's subtle. I love what Steven Spielberg does. It's subtly. He doesn't have to even say he has a family. They just show him. You don't have to say anything. He's just standing there. And you see that this man has earned the life that was given to him, right? It's the same way with Jesus. I don't think that Jesus died on the cross for us, and while he was hanging, you better earn it. I don't think he did that. But Jesus died on the cross for us so that we could live life, like Dad said, and live it abundantly. God blessed us with the life that we had. So, earn it. And see, the Bible says in Psalm chapter 39, 4 verse 5, it says, Lord, remind me how brief my time on earth will be. Remind me that my days are numbered and that my life is fleeing away. My life is no longer than the width of my hand. An entire lifetime is just a moment to you. Human existence is but a breath. James 4:14 says, whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. I love those two scriptures because it just tells you, it's God telling you right there that your life is so short. So make every day count. Live life abundantly. Do something with life. Leave a legacy. I don't know about you, but I want to do something with my life. I want to do something worthwhile. When I die and everybody's at my funeral, I don't know how long I'm going to live. I hope that I live a long life. But if I was to get in the car and die tomorrow, I want people at my funeral, and I want them to have something to say about me. I've been to some really, really good funerals where they get up and they have a lot to say about the person. He was this or she was that, and they saved my life, and they told me about Jesus, and blah, 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 and they say all these good things. And then I've also been to funerals where they get the person up there, and, he's up there, and well, Fillmore was a good guy, good hunter. He's a good hunter. Okay, that's about it. And they go sit down, and you're like, that's it. Like he was good telling stories, and he was a good man. That's about it. Like, I don't want that. I want more than that. I want somebody to say, hey, this guy stood up for me. This guy, told me about Jesus, and he, because of him, now I'm 70 years old. I met Jesus at 14, and it was Stephen that brought me into church. I want something worthwhile said about me. I want to make every day that I live count. I want to know that I left a legacy. You see, when I think of leaving a legacy, when I think of making every day count, I think of a story in the Bible in Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 through 30. It's the parable of the talents. It's also the parable of the gold, or different sayings. But this is what it says, and I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to explain to you, because if you're like me, and the college students know this because I say it every time, if you're like me when I read it, like halfway through, you just kind of trail off, and you're like, where is he going with this? So I'm going to explain it, so bear with me, okay? So this is what it says. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold. Everybody say 5. To another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with the 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. So the first 2 invested what was given to them, right? Get this, though. Then the man who had received 1 bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew that you were a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and I hid your gold in the ground. See, here it is, what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed? Well, then you should put my money on deposit with the bankers so that when I returned, I would have at least received it back with interest. So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have, will be taken from them. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Yikes. When I read that story, I love it because if I can explain it in a simple terms, there's one master and he's got 3 servants, right? And he goes on this long journey. Where he's going, I have no idea. The Bible doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you how long, but it was a substantial amount of time has passed by, right? Because it says he's been gone a while, and when he returns, he comes back. When he does, he leaves them with talents. He leaves them with bags of gold. The first servant, he gives 5 bags of gold. Simple, right? Second one, he gives 2. And the third one, he gives 1, according to their ability. So he kind of had some faith in the guy with the 5 bags, you know what I'm saying? Right, so he gives him 5, gives 2, and gives 1, and he leaves on this journey. Don't know where he's going, but he's going for a while. The first servant says, okay, I'm going to take the 5 bags, and I'm going to go invest it. He invests it, and he gets 5 more bags. So now he has 10 bags. I know, simple math. Good job, Stephen, right? He has 10 bags of gold. The second man has 2 bags of gold, and he invests it as well. And he gets 2 more. So now he has 4 bags of gold. Good job, right? But the third servant was afraid. He was like, my master's kind of hard, and I don't want to mess things up. And so what he does is he takes the talent, he takes the gold, and he buries it. The first 2 invest, pay attention. They invest, the third buries. So they gained more, but the third maintained 1. I don't know about you, but I want to gain in life. I don't want to maintain anything. I believe as Christians, we're not called to maintain anything. I feel like we're called to regain. We're called to do more. We want to add, right? We want to build people up, not maintain something. When I think of Face It, I don't want Face It to stay where it's at. I want it to grow. So when the servant gets back, when the master gets back and he comes to the first says, listen, you gave me 5, I now have 10. Second says, you gave me 2, I now have 4. Good job, y'all. You were faithful with little, now I'm going to make you rule over much. And the third guy, master, you gave me 1 and I let you down. I buried it. Like I didn't do anything. And immediately the master is disgusted, like you could have at least invested it somewhere and gained interest where I'd have a couple cents on it or something, but you didn't do anything with the talent that I gave you. You buried it. Get out of here. And it's the same way how I look with God. God is our master, right? And he gives us abilities. He gives us talents. I don't think he hates us. He's not some hateful, mean, demanding God. But I believe that he has blessed us with so much. We each have talents and abilities that others don't have. You might be a great communicator. You might hate communicating. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not your thing. There's nothing wrong with you. You might be good at something else, right? I'm not good at math. I can't do anything numbers. You don't want me handling your taxes. It's not the guy you want on the job. But somebody else is good at that. That makes them awesome, right? They have a talent. So the thing is that what are you doing with the talents that God has given you? Are you investing them or are you burying them? Are you maintaining the one thing that you have just for yourself? Or are you investing it into lives around you? One of my biggest fears in life is dying with buried talent. I don't want to stand before Christ knowing that I didn't invest everything that he gave me. I don't want to stand before the Lord and him say, son, you did well in this area, but you never utilized these gifts. You never invested in the lives around you. You just only helped yourself. What type of legacy is that? I don't want that legacy. I want to stand before Christ knowing that I gave the best of my abilities and everything that I did. Today, I want to kind of give you 4 ways that we can leave boldly, 4 ways that we can leave a legacy. So we've talked about how Jesus, lived passionately, he loved completely, he learned humbly, and that he now leaves boldly. But how do you leave boldly? How do you leave a legacy? What does that even mean? Where do I even start? Well, the first way that I can think of that is that you live with integrity. Everybody say integrity. Say it loudly. Say integrity. You see, the word integrity means this. It says it's the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. It's moral uprightness. A more basic terminology, way for me to understand is doing the right thing when no one else is. That's integrity. It's doing the right thing no matter what. Even when everybody else is doing wrong, you're standing your ground and you're doing what's right. The best way that I can describe this, I got a couple stories today, so y'all bear with me. I'm a lot like my dad, and I can talk a long time. But I'm on a time frame, and I'm trying to get this done. But you see, when I think of integrity, when I think of doing the right thing, I think back to when I was about 12 or 13 years old. My Momo Rena, okay, she made me make this promise. Now, at this time, when I was about 12, 13 years old, energy drinks were like huge. Like everybody was drinking Red Bull. It gives you wings, right? And I was like, this stuff is good. It tastes good, and so I was drinking that. I was the common, teenager, preteen, and I was like down in energy drinks. And I remember we had like a lock-in one time for our children's church thing, and we were at the church, and I had a NOS, and I was drinking that, and it kept me awake. I was one of the, children's leaders, so I had to stay awake, and I thought I was cool, I was 12 years old, and I'm one of the kids leaders, and I get to stay up all night. And so I'm drinking all these, and next thing you know, I come home the next day after our lock-in, and I crash, of course, because, I had so much energy, and now I'm dead. So I crash, and I'm asleep when my mom had come over that day. And so she had found out that we had stayed up all night, and then we did this thing for the kids. And so she comes up to me and she says, hey, there's these studies going on about energy drinks that they're not really good for you. That they could cause your heart to stop, and you could literally die. Give me the typical Momo speech, typical parent speech. You don't need to be doing that. And in my head, I was thinking, it's really not that big. I'm 12. It's not going to happen. That's for somebody that's older. But I'm listening to it. And she said, I want you to promise me you'll never drink another energy drink. And in my head, I was like, oh, come on, man. I don't want to make that promise. And I said, I promise, Mama, I won't drink another energy drink. And y'all, I'm 26 now, and I've never drank another energy drink. Because the thought of drinking one and breaking that promise with my grandmother, it would just destroy me. I don't want to have to look at her in the casket knowing that I made a promise that I couldn't keep. As simple and stupid enough as something as not drinking an energy drink. I want to have integrity, even in the littlest things. For some reason, and I'm not trying to brag, there's nothing to brag about, it's kind of, embarrassing, but the thing is that I want to do what's right. Right? I'm so concerned. People are like, hey, you want a Red Bull? No, I can't do that. My mom made me promise at 12 years old. you know what I'm saying? I can't do that. You see, right now, I live with Curly and Josh, and we have some house rules at our apartment. Not apartment, our house. And we have some rules that we live by, that we do. And so one of the things is that we're not allowed to be in the house alone with a woman. Like, we can't do that. So the only one that's really directed at is Curly and Kristen, because they're the only ones in a relationship. Me and Josh, we just seem to, girls just don't like us. I don't know what it is. No, I'm just kidding. No. But we have this rule that we can't be alone in the house with a female because we don't want the appearance of evil. It's not like something bad's going to happen or anything, but I don't want people to even remotely think anything is going on. I don't want that reputation. I don't need that on me, okay? So we just made the decision, you know what? No one's in the house alone with a woman unless somebody else is there. Then you have a witness, right? And so we have that rule. Another rule is we don't drink at the house. I don't drink anyway. None of us do. But the thing is, we don't have drinking at our house. We don't have smoking. None of that stuff. Why? Because I don't want anything that even remotely has an appearance of evil. If you drink, are you going to hell? No, I don't believe that. But the thing is for me as a college pastor that also speaks in the schools, it's my job. I'm in ministry. I don't want any of that around me, because I don't want people to even think something. I'm always telling the college students, don't do anything that even has the appearance of evil, because everyone's watching. You don't know who's watching, but I can tell you it's everybody. And they're looking at you and they want to know if you're the real deal or not. Do you have integrity? And you see, when I think of that, it makes you think of my brother Luke. I'm 26. My youngest brother is 8. He literally could be my kid. I remember I was 18 years old, and I walked home from school, and Mom told me the news, I'm having a baby, and I thought she was joking. I said things and immediately regretted what I said, because I said, you can still have kids? And she was like, what? Immediately, I was like grabbing the words, like, please come back. She was like, what? How dare you? And immediately I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. But I'm 18 years older than Luke. When I look at him, I treat him, obviously he's my brother, but I treat him the way I want to treat my son one day. Because I know God's going to bless me with kids eventually, right? And I treat him the way I want my son to be treated. And so when I'm with him, I play games with him. I'll play stuff that I normally don't want to play. He wants to play board games. I'm like, please. And it's like shoots and ladders and, but he'll want to play Fortnite. That game was cool like a couple years ago, but now it's just not as fun anymore. I'd rather play Warzone. Well, he can't play Warzone because it's Call of Duty and bad words and, more violence. So he was like, I can't play that. So I play games with him, and he's watching everything that I do, that Micah does, and Caleb does, and my parents. So much so that we do live wire videos, right? We talk about it all the time. On Instagram, we post a video. It's about 1:30 to 3 minutes-ish. And it's a short little word, right? And so it's usually me and Micah or Curly or somebody that's speaking. Well, I found on Mom's phone the other day, Luke with her phone. He's got the front-facing camera on, and he goes, hey, guys, my name's Luke. I'm just 110 Youth and 220 and Livewire, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about Jesus. And so Jesus, and he don't make any sense, but he's just saying something. But he's doing a Livewire video at 8 years old. He's trying to do what we're doing. He says things the way we say, some things that I don't wish he would say. And it's not that we use profanity or anything, but even like SUCKS, that, you know what I'm saying? He'll say it, and then I go, ooh, I don't need to say that. Like, he doesn't need to be saying those things. And so I have to watch what I say, especially when I'm playing a game with him, and somebody shoots me and kills me in Fortnite, and I get aggravated, right? I don't want him to see the same thing. I want to live with integrity. The reason I say this is to you that have children, they're watching you. I'm learning, and I don't even have kids, and they're watching me. They're watching everything you do, the way you talk. You can win in public, but how are you, if you're not winning in private, then what are you doing? Your public battles are awesome, great, you win in public. Everybody sees the face that you want them to see. But in private, how are you? At home with your wife or your husband, when you're talking with them, are you building each other up, or are you constantly yelling, throwing things and cussing each other out, sleeping in separate beds and fighting all the time? Are you living with integrity? When people watch you, who are you? What are you demonstrating? Are you leaving a legacy worth leaving? Jesus lived with integrity. He showed his disciples every day how to live for God, right? He demonstrated it with the Pharisees. He stood his ground when they would try to challenge him on something. You can't do a miracle on the Sabbath. Oh, yes, I can, and he would immediately stand his ground on what he believed, right? He never buckled. He never compromised. He always did what was right, even when everybody else wasn't. And one of the last things that Jesus did before he died is that he got down on his knees and he washed his disciples' feet, which leads me to the second point. Not only do you live with integrity, but if you want to leave a legacy, you have to serve with intensity. Everybody say serve with intensity. Jesus washed his disciples' feet. A lot of people think ministry, that being a pastor, is what I'm doing right now. They think, oh, well, the pastor, he just gets up on Sunday and he preaches a message, good 45 minutes and drags it out so we can't watch a football game and we're starving and he makes us angry. And that's all he does. And the rest of the week he just chills, he just goes golfing and gets to have fun. But that's not at all what ministry is, right? You can ask the doctors, you can ask my parents. That's not ministry. Ministry is so much more. This is about 30% of the job that I do, is the speaking part. The rest is the serving and the counseling and the discipling, right? That is ministry. That's what pastors, that's what ministers do, missionaries do. We're discipling, we're volunteering, we're serving, and we're giving back. And one of the things that Face It does, when we go into the schools, we have 3 tiers, right? So we have clubs where we go into schools and we preach the gospel to teenagers, but that's one thing. The other 2 that we do is we do local missions and foreign missions. So I take a week out during the summer and I get students that are 15 to 18 years old to give a week of their time, of their summer, where they'd be sleeping in, playing video games till 4 in the morning, right? Then sleeping in till 12 to 1 o'clock. I get them to give a week of their time to give back to the community and do something, right? To learn how to work, to learn how to appreciate the community that has given them so much. And then what I like to do is I like to take them into another country where they get to see that they have a better life than most people, right? That they have so much more. They have running water, that they have an air conditioned unit, right? They can take a shower and go to the bathroom on a normal toilet. We were in Panama. It was the last trip we had until, COVID came in and decided just to stay here. But the thing is, we went to Panama and we bathed literally off the roof. Like, that's how you took your shower. Of course, we couldn't even undress. We have to stay there, put the shampoo on our heads, and it's raining. Yes, and it's like hitting our heads. That's how we showered. We have it made here. So I want to show students that their lives they have great lives over here, and they should appreciate the country they live in. But most importantly, they should learn to serve and leave a legacy and do something for somebody else, not just themselves. The third way that we can leave a legacy is give with generosity. Everybody say give with generosity. It's one thing to serve. It's another to give. Now, I don't have a lot of money, okay? I'm not rich. But the thing is that ever since I was little, I've been taught to give. And at first, I've always had a concept of money. Even since I can remember, I knew that money was important, okay? When I was little, I was a type that when I wanted something, I would go and work to get the money so that I can go buy it. The computer that I wanted, the camera that I wanted, I would go work to go get that because I appreciated the money that I made. My parents taught me, my grandparents taught me the whole deal. And so giving was always like what? I have to give it now? No, I don't. It's mine. I didn't want to give it away, but I was taught at a young age to give. And one of the things that the church talks about, and we don't like to talk about a lot because it's a tough subject on people, is tithing. Tithing is no pastor ever wants to talk about tithing because everybody thinks that tithing is the church wants to just rob us of our money. I hear it all the time. And I laugh every time because if that was the case, there's no way on earth that at 26 years old, I would be riding around in a Honda Accord as a single man. What's up, ladies? 4-cylinder. I'm not winning nobody with a Honda Accord, okay? I would rather have a sports car. I'd rather have a lot more money. But the thing is that the church isn't here to rob you of your money. The Bible says that we owe 10% to God. It's His. So we should be willing to give it because it was His in the first place. It's not that much. You got 100. He's asking 10%. You give him 10. Wow. You know what I'm saying? You still got 90. That's the way I was taught as a young age. And so now when I get paid, it's immediately I give it. And I've been blessed, not just financially, but I've been blessed with favor. I've been blessed with so much. I don't give so that God will give me more money. That's not what I do. I give so that God will bless me in all areas of life. The reason we have this building, we did nothing to get this building. God just blessed us with it. The people that are in the church, God blesses with. There's nothing that we can do. It's only God. But I'm going to give my absolute best, and I'm going to be a giving person. My whole salary that I make through Face It is based off the efforts of people giving. It's generosity. My whole livelihood, if I didn't have people giving, I don't have a job. I can't pay my rent. So I'm so grateful for those people who give. It's their money that they worked hard for, and then they give me X amount of money a month. We just got a check from a supporter who's been supporting us for 23 years. Face It makes 23 years old in July. And he's been supporting us ever since. He's the guy who allowed us into the schools in the first place. He told my dad no at first, and then he said yes later. And now we're in the schools. We've been doing it for 23 years. He just sent us a big check just the other day. I was extremely grateful. It's a blessing, right? I am so grateful for his generosity. So I tell you, if you want to leave a legacy, then give with generosity. The last thing, and I'm closing, and when I say closing, don't get your hopes up, okay? I got 2 stories with that closing. Tell others about Christ with urgency. Everybody say, tell others about Christ with urgency. If you want to leave a legacy, then do it telling people about Jesus. If there's anything that you do on this earth, it's tell people the good news. Why live? Especially if you know the good news, if you know what God's done for you, why not share it, right? Tell people about Jesus. When I think of that, it makes me think of Kennecook. I went to this camp about 2 years ago, and I served. It was a summer camp. And while I was out there, I was with these guys, and they were about 15 to 18 years old, okay? It was the older group. So they were a lot more behaved and respectful and things. And so we're out at the lake and we're swimming. It's our fun day, okay? We've done our ministry stuff. We've been getting preached to by the 2 guys that speak to us. And so we're just swimming, okay? And Kanakuk is like rough, y'all. Like it's like all day, 24/7, you're babysitting these people. And I know they're 15 to 18, but they're still 15 to 18, and they're loud and they're obnoxious, and then, they forget their stuff. And you get to this one place, I don't have my swim shoes. Bro, go back to the thing again. And so you like have to be a parent the whole day, and it's all day. And so I'm at the lake, and I'm trying to have a good time, and we get on this little wooden thing, and we're like floating, and all of a sudden this kid looks at me and he says, "Stephen, can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah, man, what's up?" He says, "Listen, I've always wondered, can you accept Christ into your heart, confess him with your mouth, believe in your heart that he is Lord and Savior, right? Get born again, the whole deal. Can you be saved, but never go to church, never tell a single soul about never tell them about Jesus, never tell a single soul, and you just stay in your house, but you're saved, you've confessed, and you just stay in your, would you make heaven?" Y'all, I was sitting there on the thing and I was going, why? I just want to swim. Like, this is a complex question. So I'm sitting there and I went, well, obviously, yeah, you confess with your mouth, and yeah, that Bible does say you would be saved, but I said, but it's eating me up, because if you were saved, you would have a compelling to tell people about Jesus. If you can't be saved and not tell people about Jesus, there's a compelling that comes across you, it comes over you, that you say, I have to tell somebody this news. I can't keep it to myself. You ever win something, you get a reward, or you go to a theme park and you're about to go there, you're going to tell people about that. I'm going to Disney World this week. Like, that's something awesome. That's good news. Nobody wins something and goes, I'm just going to keep it to myself. No, you're going to tell people. You win the lottery, you think you're going to keep that to yourself? Well, you might, because you don't want anybody coming to get your money, you know what I'm saying? I always tell people, listen, I don't want to win the lottery because I don't want everybody. Then all the fake people come out. Hey, man, remember me? No. Don't know who you are, right? There's a compelling to tell people about Jesus. So I said, I don't think so, man. I don't see how that would work, because I don't think you're truly saved unless you are wanting to tell people, right? The last story that I think of when it comes to sharing the gospel, when it comes to telling people with urgency, it makes me think of this story. There was a businessman. He was at this hotel on the beachfront, and it was early in the morning, and he decided to go for a stroll. So he's walking down the beach, and he's just kind of chilling, right? And he's just, before he goes to his meetings all day, and while he's walking, he saw this high tide had come in overnight, and on the beach was all these starfish. Now, when I say this, a lot of the college students and face it guys, they know where I'm going, okay? And you might be too. But there were starfish all over the beach, and they were like washed way up there, and they couldn't get back to the water. So they're literally dying as we speak. And the sun's coming up, and so you know that the sun's going to bake them, they're going to die. And the man walking on the beach, he knows this. And so while he's walking, he goes, man, it's a shame. These are beautiful creatures, and it's sad that they can't get back in the water. But man, I can't even if I tried, I can't even make a dent in how many. There was thousands of them, right? And he's like, I can't get them. there's no way. And so he continued to walk, and as he got a little bit further down the beach, he saw this boy, a young kid, frantically running, and he's full speed, he's grabbing a starfish, and he's slinging him into the water, and he grabs another one, he's throwing it, and he's like frisbee throwing them, right? And he's throwing as many as he can. And the businessman is walking, and he's thinking, okay, I got to break the news to this kid. I love his heart. I love what he's doing. But he can't save them all. He's going to kill himself doing all this. And so he walks up to the kid and he says, listen, I got to give you some bad news, buddy, but what you're doing ain't really making a difference. Yeah, you're getting some, but you're not going to really make a dent. There's so many of them, bud. I thought the same thing, but you need to, you can just go on home. And while he was saying this, the kid never stopped. He just kept doing it. It's like tuning him out. And he was throwing one, and all of a sudden when he said, you're not going to really make a difference in any of this, the kid grabbed one more and he threw it in the water, and he said, well, I made all the difference for that one. And he grabbed another one and he said, I made all the difference for that one. And what about this one right here? He said, he doesn't matter? And he was throwing them, and he was aggravated, like, I'm going to save as many as I can. And immediately the businessman knew it. Wait a minute. Yeah, we can't save them all, but I'm going to save as many as I can. If there's anything that you get out of the message, Stephen, you talk way too fast. I don't have any idea what? Live with what? Integrity or something? Live passionately, love completely, learn humbly, leave boldly. What does any of this mean? If there's anything you get out of what I have to say today, it's tell people about Jesus. When I die, I want people to know that I live for God. Because nothing that I accomplish on here ever is going to follow me. I can get all the money in the world. I can have the nicest car, the best house. I could have all that. Prettiest girl, whatever. None of this matters. What matters is the legacy that I'm leaving behind. Am I telling people about Jesus? Did I win somebody? Did I stop and give them time? Was I generous enough to give them just 15 minutes of my life to tell them about Jesus? Or was I too selfish enough that I was only wanting to build the empire that God gave me, right? Live a legacy, right? Leave a legacy. Do something for Jesus. Tell people about him. Don't keep it to yourself. Because at the end of the day, when you die and you're standing, the one thing that I hope is when I'm standing for Christ, he's going to say either, welcome my good and faithful servant, or depart from me, I don't know you. When he says, welcome my good and faithful servant to me, and I enter, I don't want to stand before Christ with one talent that I maintained my entire life, and I only built it for me. I want to be to stand there and stand before Jesus and say, God, I did everything I could possibly do. And I want to look behind me, and I want to have a ton of people behind me that are walking in with me. I don't want to walk into heaven alone. I want my family there with me. I want my cousins. I want my brothers to come. I want my aunt and uncle. I want everybody to I want my best friends that I went to high school with that I don't even talk to. I want them to know Jesus. So I'm going to leave a legacy. I want you to bow your heads. Let's pray. God, I thank you for today. I thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak. I pray, God, that we earn it. Lord, the life that you gave us, Lord, that we're just like Private Ryan, that we earn it. Not because you demand of us, but Lord, that we want to. Because you gave us a life and a life more abundantly. And Lord, I pray, God, that we leave a legacy, Lord, that we live with integrity, God, that we serve with intensity. God, that we give generously. But most importantly, that we tell people about Jesus with urgency. Lord, I thank you for each and every person here. I pray, God, that you bless us. Let us have a great day today. In Jesus' name, amen.